Kids aren't born with the ability to drive themselves to school, or diagnose themselves when they're sick, or write legislation to protect themselves. Kids depend on adults, their families, communities, and governments to support their health, education, and well-being. And it takes a lot of us working together to help kids and their families have the resources they need. So how are resources for kids and families allocated to our communities? Much depends on the U.S. Census. The Constitution mandates that we count everyone in the country every 10 years, and the 2020 census is closer than you think. Since children can't complete a census form, they rely on us to do right by them to ensure they're counted. An accurate count means communities get the resources they need, like funding for schools, libraries, and healthcare. But right now, there's a risk that more than 2 million children under age 5 may not be counted. That's a mistake we'd have to live with for 10 years, one that would lead to crowded classrooms, underfunded programs, misleading research, and big problems for all of us. The kids most at risk of being missed include children of color and kids in low-income and immigrant families, plus young children from certain rural areas, in multi-family households, and on American Indian reservations. Our kids lose when vital community resources from schools to hospitals dwindle. These resources are critical to the long-term success of all children. The impact of missing millions of kids in the census could be devastating. For kids to count, we need to count all kids in the census. It's up to policymakers, communities, and our nation to do right by our kids. Nationally, we must ensure the 2020 U.S. Census is fully funded and inclusive, while reminding everyone that participating is convenient, safe, and required. On a local level, state, county, and city officials must engage community partners, from nurses and childcare providers to teachers and faith leaders, now to reach hard-to-count households with young kids to encourage participation in the 2020 census. The more accurate the count, the better we can track and understand how our nation's children are faring. And if we don't count children, we make their lives invisible and their futures uncertain. The 2020 census is around the corner. By acting now, we can ensure that we count all kids in the 2020 census. Visit countallkids.org to learn more and take action. The kids in your community are counting on you.